Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Bachelor Nation fans roast Nick Viall for Joan Vassos interview. Bachelor Nation fans have a love-hate relationship with Nick Viall. His Bachelor season was one of the most popular, but the reality star has fallen out of favor with some viewers over the years. One listener of his podcast absolutely roasted Nick for his interview with Golden Bachelorette star Joan Vassos. Keep reading to find out why. From reality TV star to podcast host, Nick Viall's journey through Bachelor Nation looking for love was a long one. He struck out on The Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, and his own season of The Bachelor. He eventually found his match on social media when Natalie Joy slid into his DMs. The couple married earlier this year after welcoming their first child together. Nick Viall still stars on reality TV. He was a contestant on Season 2 of Fox's Special Forces and competed on Season 24 of Dancing with the Stars. He was spotted cheering Joey Graziadei on in the DOPS studio audience last month. Nick was one of the first Bachelor Nation alums to get in on the podcast craze. He launched the Viall Files in 2019. Bachelor Nation fans roast Nick Viall for Joan Vassos interview. Nick Viall's podcast is a huge success. It has over 200,000 subscribers on YouTube alone. He's nabbed several in-demand interviews, including Gypsy Rose's first interview after she was released from prison. Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos joined the podcast last month to dish on her season of the ABC dating show. She seemed to hint at who her winner was. One annoyed listener left a salty review of the podcast episode. They wrote, "When interviewing Joan Vassos, Nick treated her like she was a million years old when in fact, he's closer in age to her than his wife. Ironic." Nick Viall is 44. His wife, Natalie, is 25. Joan is 61, so the comment isn't wrong. Bachelor Nation fans took to the Reddit comment section to bask in the roast. "I almost just spit out my coffee. Bahahaha, great call out. That's a murder, lol. Slaughtered him. Cooked? Nick Viall, self-aware he is not. Your Honor, he's dead. I don't know how young his mother-in-law is, but she looks most certainly closer in age to him than his wife." Savage, iconic review. Bachelor Nation fans are known for their intense loyalty, not only to the franchise, but to their favorite contestants. Recently, the fandom has set its sights on none other than Nick Viall after his interview with Joan Vassos, a standout from the Golden Bachelor. The backlash has been swift and passionate, with many fans taking to social media to roast Nick for what they see as a mishandling of the conversation with Joan, whose journey on the show resonated deeply with audiences. But what exactly set fans off? The interview was meant to be a chance for Joan to reflect on her time on The Golden Bachelor, a show aimed at finding love for its first ever Golden Bachelor, Jerry Turner. Joan, a widow and mother, had captivated viewers with her vulnerability and grace. Her emotional departure from the show after receiving a call from her daughter, who needed her support, left audiences moved and yearning for more of her story. When it was announced that she'd sit down with Nick on his popular podcast, The Viall Files, fans expected a meaningful, sensitive conversation about her journey, her choices, and the experiences that shaped her time on the show. Unfortunately, many fans felt the interview fell flat, and they didn't hesitate to let Nick know it. Fans criticized Nick's interview style. From the beginning of the interview, fans felt that Nick missed the mark. Many were disappointed by his lack of sensitivity toward Joan's unique situation. Rather than diving into Joan's experiences with empathy, he seemed to focus on surface-level questions, even steering the conversation toward topics unrelated to Joan's personal story. Some fans commented that Nick appeared more interested in stirring up drama than in giving Joan a platform to share her journey. Nick had such an incredible opportunity here to highlight Joan's resilience and the challenges she faced as a mother and a widow, wrote one fan on Twitter. Instead, he turned it into another shallow, self-centered discussion. We expected better. Others were quick to point out how Nick's tendency to make conversations about himself got in the way. He always has to relate everything back to his own bachelor journey, wrote a Reddit user. This wasn't about him, it was about Joan, and yet he couldn't help but bring it back to his own experiences. It's exhausting. Nick's interviewing style has been a point of contention before, with some fans accusing him of focusing too much on sensationalism rather than substance. In this case, his approach felt especially grating because of Joan's story and what it represented for viewers. The opportunity for a raw, compassionate discussion was missed, and fans felt that Joan deserved better. The tone and lack of empathy. One of the biggest critiques of the interview was Nick's tone. Fans noted that he seemed dismissive and even cynical at times, which they found inappropriate given Joan's emotional journey. Many had expected a heartfelt and respectful exchange, especially considering Joan's decision to leave the show to support her family. Instead, they felt that Nick lacked the empathy necessary to truly understand the weight of her decision. Joan left because her family needed her, and Nick treated it like a minor plot twist instead of a real-life choice, commented another fan. Her story could have been a way to talk about the sacrifices mothers make, but instead, it became just another episode of the Viall Files. Some fans also felt that Nick's questions didn't allow Joan to fully open up. Rather than asking her about the struggles she faced in choosing between love and family obligations, he seemed to gloss over these topics, leaving fans frustrated. Nick missed a chance to ask the questions we all wanted answers to, one fan pointed out. How did it feel for Joan to leave Jerry behind? Did she feel she had more to explore on her journey? None of these were even touched upon. Overly personal probes. Another sore spot for fans was Nick's approach to Joan's love life outside the show. His line of questioning around Joan's romantic history and future felt invasive to some viewers, who felt that he was prying into her personal life in a way that wasn't necessary. Given that Joan had already been vulnerable on the show, fans were disappointed to see her put in a position where she had to deflect or give guarded answers. Some fans felt that Nick's probing came across as insensitive, especially because Joan had lost her husband, a part of her life that she has been open about. It was hard to watch him try to dig into her dating history like that, one viewer tweeted. It felt invasive and completely missed the point of why we love Joan. She's more than her love life. She's a mother, a widow, a strong woman. This sentiment was echoed across social media, where many fans felt that Nick's questions bordered on disrespectful. Rather than focusing on her love journey on The Golden Bachelor, he delved into areas that fans felt Joan didn't need to address on a public platform. Fans rally around Joan. The outpouring of love and support for Joan has been palpable, as Bachelor Nation fans came together to celebrate her for the grace and dignity she's shown, both on and off the show. Many fans took to Twitter and Instagram to praise Joan for how she handled herself in the interview, highlighting her patience and tact. Joan handled that interview with such class, wrote a fan on Instagram. She didn't give in to Nick's attempts to steer the conversation in a tacky direction. She's truly one of the most genuine people to come out of this franchise. Joan's decision to leave The Golden Bachelor was a powerful moment for many viewers, representing the complex choices faced by many women balancing family and personal fulfillment. Fans expressed disappointment that Nick didn't honor that experience in the way they felt Joan deserved. The demand for better representation in Bachelor Nation. The backlash against Nick's interview isn't just about this particular conversation. It reflects a broader demand from Bachelor Nation fans for better representation and respect for the older contestants, especially women like Joan, who have become fan favorites for their authenticity. Viewers are hungry for meaningful conversations that dive into the emotional depths of the contestants' experiences, especially for a show like The Golden Bachelor that showcases life and love from a different, often overlooked perspective. This episode has sparked conversations about how Bachelor Nation treats its older contestants, with many fans calling for interviewers and hosts who will approach their stories with more sensitivity and empathy. "We need people who understand these journeys, not people who just want sound bites," one fan said. Nick could have used this moment to uplift Joan's story, and he completely missed the mark. At the time of this response, Nick has yet to address the backlash directly. While some fans are hopeful he'll acknowledge the criticism and perhaps reflect on his approach, others are less optimistic. Nick is known for his sometimes polarizing style, and he has both staunch supporters and critics within Bachelor Nation. But even among his fans, this particular interview has left many feeling disappointed.